Welcome everyone to What the Fiction. Today we will be covering the Chinese drama Pursuit of Jade. And joining me to discuss all of this is Missy. Welcome, Missy.
Hello. I'm so excited. This is the first time we've covered something like this together.
Yeah, although we do watch a lot of C-dramas, K-dramas, and talk about them.
Yeah.
No, we've covered, K-dramas. We talked about.
Yeah, we talked about Crash Landing on You.
Crash Landing on You, yeah.
For a long time. If you want to listen to those episodes, they are long, but they're good, so go listen.
It was a two-parter because we had so much to talk about. And actually, one of the things that we will call out is that there's actually a lot of similar things that happen in both dramas. And that's primarily to do with the fact that they actually are using the same motifs.
Yep. Yes, there's a ton of similarities. It's very cool.
So Pursuit of Jade was available on several locations, but primarily in North America for us. It was available on Netflix. And I just want to talk a little bit about how we talk about media here on What the Fiction. We talk about it primarily from a metamythic motif perspective and themes, because we find it really, really interesting to see how these themes might be present in our modern media today and tie back to stories that have been with us for thousands and thousands of years.
And why does it resonate as it does across cultural lines, across, language barriers? Why are things like this so popular?
And why do we keep on seeing it pop up in certain stories? And why does it speak to us? Why do we enjoy it so much? Why do we seek out this kind of story? We are two women who live in North America, and thus that it will impact our coverage because we might not know all of the specific cultural impacts or statements being made inside of the media that is from another place in another language.
I do not understand Mandarin. I have to trust the subtitles, and my understanding is that they are not always accurate. I've already seen a number of critiques from people that are native speakers about, how the subtitles sometimes really obscure the meaning or whatever. So I would say a lot of our coverage will be focused on motifs that are easily recognizable because they are mostly visual. They're things you can see in the story. There are some things that come from the dialogue which I hope are accurate, and we'll call those out. But mostly we're just going to be talking about, the events in the story and what that means.
Yeah, and how that follows sort of motifs that we see in stories that have been around for a really long time, and then what that means to us. Because I think that that's one of the things that we both really enjoy is talking about why these stories are so impactful to us, and why, if you enjoyed this story, maybe this is the reason why. The story is an adaptation. It was based on a web novel, and there are lots and lots of fans of the web novel, and some of them have been quite critical about this adaptation. We don't usually look at that comparison very often. We focus on what is the story being presented, because adaptations themselves, by their very nature, have to change. And so we're only looking at Pursuit of Jade as the C-drama itself. So that's my little caveat for web novel fans. This story is wonderfully anti-patriarchal.
As all the best ones are.
I'm obsessed. It's
so good.
Straight up from the matrilineal marriage where he marries into her household and she's in charge of the house, to all of the female characters being strong and also just fully fleshed out characters that we can see on screen. They have their own desires. They have their own wants. And that is something that I crave. And it's just really wonderful to see.
And none of them are perfectly pure, and none of them are totally evil. All of the feminine characters are complex and layered, and that's really, really cool. It makes it really fun to watch. There are plenty of scenes in this series that pass the Bechdel test.
Mhm.
Even though romance is very central to the story, they are still having conversations about other things, which is great. It's a real delight to watch because I think there's always a risk, again, when you have a romance-centric story, that every time they get off of that, you kind of are like, okay, all right, just get back to the main couple. And I have to say, generally speaking, overall in this series, I really enjoyed all of the other character relationships, and it was just really just a pleasure to follow.
And except for a few points early on the story, mid in the story, when she was like, I'm going to go and do this thing,
Hmm.
our male lead, Zhang, he just was like, yep, she's going to go do that thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like there was a lot of like not doubting her.
Hmm.
Of course he understood her competence pretty much from an early time. I do want to briefly talk about how some people viewed her strength especially to be unrealistic. And I'm like, well, it comes with reasons. Like they explain it, right? She's been doing this very difficult work for a very long time, but also I don't care.
Yeah, well, listen, I view it as supernatural strength, and that does not bother me. I'm fine with that because I already view, as we will discuss, I
Mhm.
already view this story as folklore and mythology, even without any, again, textually magical elements. I'm just like, whatever. This is like, of course
Yeah.
she has supernatural strength. Like, what's your point? Like, that's how these stories go. Like,
Well, and
like,
and she's Zhang also has supernatural beauty, so
yeah,
we are where we are.
exactly.
He would be
Exactly. Well,
totally scarred without a helmet. Come on.
absolutely. Well, and just the whole thing makes me laugh because it's just we'll get into this, but this is where their whole role reversal of the classically masculine and feminine characters in folklore, the supernatural strength and the supernatural beauty,
Yeah,
she's super strong and he's super gorgeous, and
that's just what it is.
that's how we roll. And
Yeah, and
so I'm not,
it's called
yeah.
out so many times that
Yeah,
he is
repeatedly,
gorgeous and
over
like
and over.
yeah, everywhere. So yeah, no,
Yeah,
there is a significant role reversal.
it's super fun. It's one of the most fun things about the show is the way that they just take everything and they're just like, yeah, so everything you're used to seeing for the masculine character, we're going to give it to the heroine, and everything you're used to seeing for that maiden is going to him. And I was like, this is
Yes.
amazing, and I love it.
He ends up becoming like a damsel quite
Literally,
often.
he's a
Yeah.
maiden in a tower for like the first 10 episodes or something.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. It's so
It's
good.
so good.
Love it.
Let's just talk overall about the show. How do you feel about it?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, we'll get to this. There are things I would quibble with. I do think it got very plot heavy, and the plot itself got very convoluted toward the end. So the last 10 episodes, I would say, I was like, it was so hard for me to follow. So that was frustrating. But I'm setting that aside because I loved it as a whole. I really loved the vast majority of the show. I was not bored. I was carried away. I was super, super into it. I loved all these characters. Every time a character would disappear for a few episodes and then reappear, I would get insanely excited that they were back. I was like, oh my gosh, they're back. I'm so psyched to see them. It was super fun. I think just their romance was so solid. Like their chemistry was just spot on all the way through. So good. I laughed, I cried. I understand why this has been a smash hit
Yeah.
because it is just lightning in a bottle, they just nailed it. It's also very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Just all of the cinematography and everything is just so gorgeous. They really, you can see some real skill behind how this is done. And so it was really fun. I loved it.
I also was super obsessed from the beginning. I
Hmm.
started watching it, I think, 10 episodes in. 10 episodes had been released, and I just
Hmm.
burned through those so
Yeah, yeah.
quickly. And yeah, it's a beautiful show. It's so well constructed, especially for the first 3/4, right,
Yeah.
of
Mm-hmm.
40 episodes.
Yeah.
I do also find that the last episodes, it was like they needed to figure out how to solve problems
Yeah.
because of his revenge plot and a few
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
things. But overall, I just really had such a good time with it, and I
Yeah.
felt like there was a lot of love that went into the
Yeah.
show, and that
Mm-hmm.
in and of itself made me really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I could have lived without the AU at the end.
Yeah, that was weird. But I also
did nothing for me.
I know. We talked about this before we recorded. I have no problem on repeat viewings. I will simply just not watch that part.
Exactly.
It will be fine. Like, it's no big deal. So yeah, I think my overall thing is that, like, is it perfect? No, but I'm very forgiving of the things that are not perfect because of how much I enjoyed most of it. And yeah, it's wonderful.
And also, like, when a show speaks to me mythically, it
Mm-hmm.
gets so much more grace. Like, because
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
telling the story not only with the text, but also with the symbolism. And the symbolism is clearly on screen through the director's vision,
Yes.
through the text, through what they say. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're going to talk about and why it's important.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so let's dig into themes and motifs.
All right. I'm so excited.
All right, so one of the biggest sort of symbols that is used is jade.
Mm-hmm.
Precious, rare, must be protected. It has a lot of meanings, specifically in China. There is a really amazing Reddit post, which I will link to in the liner notes, because hey, it does a way better job than me, but I'm going to summarize a lot of it. It's done by Big Tumbleweed 3024 You Rock, specifically calling out Jade in the show. Yu, the character of Chang Yu, means Jade. So he is chasing her.
Mm-hmm.
Or she is being found, right? Because she's referred to as unpolished jade. So it's that idea that natural jade stone that is found but yet to be carved into something that is functional or beautiful, has all of this potential. There's lots of things about jade in a symbol of virtue, that it's all about behavioral discipline, like it's associated with that. It also is associated with protection from evil and warding off evil, expressions of affection. And one of the things that I absolutely love is that the drama's characters, which mean chasing jade, actually the Zhu, which is the two parts of it, or the first two parts of it, actually mean chasing pig. If you break out the
oh, that's so great.
The characters,
that's amazing.
So chasing is like fast pig chasing jade.
That's so funny.
But it's like chasing pig while running, basically, is kind of the idea. And I just love it. I love it so much. It makes it's like this layered thing that means so many things that I wouldn't catch.
Right. But I think at a high level also what will make it easier for a lot of people, again, who are maybe not native to this culture to understand, is it's very similar to the concept of a diamond in the rough.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
That's basically the idea here, is that, like, there's something precious kind of hidden in all this like roughness, and that's really cool. So I love it.
Jade is mentioned several times. He is the hairpin that is he is the jade that is found under the snow that she doesn't own and needs to be returned. The jade hairpin that she wears in her hair that was from her mother. The magistrate's daughter is compared to being gold compared to jade being her.
Right. Like,
it's actually like all over the place.
Well, even Bauer, doesn't he give Ning a jade pendant?
Yeah, jade pendant
and everything. Yeah,
as
exactly.
like a symbol of their connection.
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
Of course, like a string that ties them together for the future heart song, or like a string of fate kind of thing.
Yeah.
it's just everywhere. And I
Yeah.
really appreciated how they were like, this is our brand and we're going to make sure you remember this.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Let's put it up front.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of get it out of the way. Did you have anything else before we move on from Jade?
No, I think you covered it.
Let's talk about Yu Qing and Qingming.
So, okay, I don't know if anyone was watching this show and you were like, okay, it's so weird that like she knows CPR. What's up with that? I guess it's just a thing. Whatever, we'll let it go. But
It's me.
I know it's fine, but like if you pay attention to that, and then now I've been watching through it a second time, and I kind of been looking at what people are, some of the chatter going on online, and turns out apparently she's a time traveler. So I was not aware of this, but apparently transmigration is a thing in a lot of Chinese dramas where somebody is either a time traveler or they are reincarnated. Or like, they're in a younger body, maybe. There's lots of...
It's so common in Chinese dramas, like K-dramas, like all over the J-dramas. It is so common, and it is so rare in North American media. Like when was the last time we saw a major version of this? I mean, Freaky Friday notwithstanding, right?
Yeah.
Pleasantville.
Oh, yeah.
That is like the only one that I can really think of in a big way.
Outlander?
Outlander counts.
That counts.
Absolutely.
I think that counts. Okay. Yeah. So it's rare, but it's rare in Western media, but it's like everywhere in Asian media.
And how it's done in Asian media is usually a death, or you've like fallen into a coma, or you've fallen into a dream, or like you've fallen into the story. Like that's how they do it. But of the last dramas I've watched in the last year, 3 of them have had transmigration.
Right. So the point being it's a thing, and yet it is not a focus of this story. It is very, very subtle. You kind of have to pay attention. There are some other moments that kind of tip you off. In addition to the CPR and then her like teaching other characters CPR, there's also there's a point at which her son says, "Oh, I can't eat candy or I'll get cavities." And Ning's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, little worms that eat your teeth." And she's like, "Huh?" And it's, so they might have a concept of tooth rot, but the idea of like cavities and exactly what they are and how, like, that's totally unusual. And then especially right at the very end where she says there's something about where are you from, and she's like, "Oh, very, very far away, and I don't know if I can ever go back." Right. Yeah, exactly.
Now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh.
Once you're looking for it, then it's like, oh, I see. And I think that's fascinating because this is the first, I haven't watched that many C-dramas. I've watched a few, but this is the first one I've watched that had no explicitly magical elements. Now, there are things that, as we discussed, are, semi-supernatural, blah, 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 blah. But if she's a transmigrator, like that is a more explicitly magical element, but they leave it in the background. It's not really important to the story.
And usually with transmigration, it's a main character. Like it's like the main female lead usually. Sometimes both the main female lead and main male lead. And if you're looking for transmigration suggestions that might be available on Netflix, I'll get you some.
Yes, please.
Because I think they're really fun. I love them because it's a story type that we don't see much in North American media.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and what's interesting is the way that it is used in this story, because part of me is sort of devastated for the character because of everything she goes through, and we'll get into, Shimin is not a good guy, and like I get that he's super hot. I really enjoyed all the, if evil, why pretty? I mean, I don't disagree, but. But that said, this is not actually a character who is redeemed, and he's a tragic figure because he never gets past his absolutely just shattering fear of losing her, and so he just keeps her trapped the entire time, and it's hard to watch her suffer through that. And the only thing that I was a little more satisfied by was that at least in the end, she does become the mother to the emperor. And
Yeah.
that's like, she deserves that. She earned that. Good for her.
Good for
So
her.
yeah, good for her. I was pleased to, to see her take on that role, but it was tough because they make you love her a lot when they're back
She's a
in
lovable
in the town.
character.
Yeah. And so then watching for like, like almost 20 some odd episodes, watching her just suffer, it's hard. It's hard.
And she's smart, right?
She's so
and
smart.
she's like trying to trick him and like get him in a
Mm-hmm.
corner, and then she has
Yep.
to like do these kind of awful things
Mm-hmm.
because she's in this like terrible situation. She has to do awful things to herself. Like that
Yep.
is
Mm-hmm.
being complacent with the like rape that happens to her
Yeah.
basically, and being
Mm-hmm.
okay with it so that she can get a one up on him in any
Yep.
moment.
Yeah.
I would say it's a very hard story to watch.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of good discussion online, and how people are like not quite willing to have the conversation about harem stories being very similar and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a lot of really good conversation, and because they made her so smart, so identifiable, and
Mm-hmm.
now we know it's because she's like
A
modern
modern
person.
woman. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's
Right.
very identifiable. Chi Ming is monster fully, right? Like
Yeah,
he doesn't
he's
look like a
fully
monster,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't redeem. Even he's like, I will change for you at the end, but it's not really. It's just because,
Yeah, he doesn't really.
yeah, it's
It's
so
yeah.
hard actually to watch him suffer too.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. I mean, like, he's horrible, but you do also understand why he is the way he is. And so, like, and that goes back to the writing is really strong on the characters of like, you fully understand who they are, how they ended up this way. You even understand why he, is trapped in the way he is, and other characters are not. Other characters are able to make their way out of like their darkest kind of place, and he can't. And they make sense out of that.
Yeah.
But it is really, really heartbreaking to watch. So it's like, I appreciated that the really crushing story was not the mains, because even though they went through their own trials, like knowing that they were going to be okay and everything, and like get there happily ever after really helped me kind of deal with like, that horrible, tragic secondary story where I
And
was like,
you knew he was never
ooh.
going to like live through this / get redeemed
Yeah.
because he wanted to kill his own son. And
Exactly.
that's a big theme. That's like
Mhm.
House of Atreus, wanting
Very.
to eat your own children
Yep.
means that you're cursed. And the only
Yep.
way that you become uncursed is through empathy and through forgiveness, right?
Yeah.
And the son being like sort of the opposite of his father is part of that.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so. And it's interesting because, Bauer, for a long time, you're just like, oh, he's just, like he's her kid, he's cute and whatever. But you do see over time sort of him also growing and becoming more independent and like learning how to care for others. He's very intelligent as well. Like the whole thing of like, no, I've studied all of the different like tire tracks of the armies, and I know that this is the Shi army, so we're gonna go that way because they're over there. Like, that kind of stuff. So like it's again, to go back to, these characters are really, really three-dimensional, and so it makes them interesting to watch. But yeah, I don't know. This was that. I mean, that's most of what I have to say about these characters. Is I really, really love Yuchen, and I, love to hate Shimin.
He was
And I
so cute. I watched a
Mhm.
short drama with the actor because I was like, I gotta get this like taste out of my mouth.
Yeah, I know. He's so creepy. I know.
It's like 10 minutes an episode or something like that.
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
20
Oh, there
of
you
them.
go.
So you like can finish it like kind of between things.
Do you know what helped me cope with it is they on Tumblr there were a bunch of like behind the scenes
where they're
videos.
cute together.
And they're cute together. So it's like obviously he's like a really sweet dude in real life and everything.
Yeah.
And the kid is not scared of him and you realize it's all okay, but I needed that. I needed that because Oh man, every time he like grabs her and like pulls her close to him, and you can see she just desperately wants to push away and she can't. It's like that was hard to
And the
watch.
bath
That was
scenes and
tough.
like, oh man.
Oh, so bad. Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that they did have like two contrasting bath scenes in this show. Like,
Yeah, that was a
I
weird
probably,
choice.
yeah, I probably could have done with less of the creepy one.
Yeah, they focused a lot
So
on it. It was
there's a lot of
weird.
it. It went on for a
It
while.
was weird. All
Yeah,
right, that's enough of that. I mean,
that's enough of that.
yeah, let's talk about our main characters.
Mm-hmm.
We of course have Chen Yu, we have Zhang, who's Shi Zhang, who's
Or
awesome.
Yanshang, depending.
Yang Zhang, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they fall into primarily, there's other stuff going on, but primarily the Sky Lovers
Yay!
motif. I said star in my Tumblr post, but
You're not wrong.
Right.
You're not wrong.
Celestial.
Well, so the reason I'm splitting hairs here is because so we talk a lot about Star Lovers. If you listen to any of our other episodes, it gets covered a lot. Not to go back to the comparison to Crash Landing on You, but that is an explicitly Star Lover story.
Mm-hmm.
And I do, recommend listening to that because we'll go into a lot of depth on it. But the reason that I decided to point out that this is Sky Lovers rather than Star Lovers, which are closely related, they're more or less the same thing. There's just some subtle differences in the motifs. It's still the idea of like the sky being the elevated. So that's usually, when there's, in this case, a class difference, like the Sky Lover is the one who is from above, and then the other sort of lower class character is of the earth. So we have sky and earth, and so that tends to be the dynamic that you see. And normally what happens is that one falls and then the other one rises, and eventually they sort of both rule together like earth and sky.
Yeah.
And so that's normally the way that story goes. And what's so distinctive is there's really nothing about stars, planets, moon, sun. None of that is in here. Celestial bodies are not a thing. However, there's lots of
Height.
Height. We're up high. There's wind. There's flight. There's snow.
Yep.
There's all these things which are very much, associated with the sky, touching the sky, being carried by the wind, all of these things. So it's distinctive throughout the entire show. It's really, really clear. And it's also very clearly associated with each character in different ways.
And when we're introduced to the male lead, when he's sort of having his fall, we see him sort of, he's on this like land where he's having these battles, and then he's pursued, like when we get like the flashbacks of what happens, and he falls off of a waterfall.
Yep.
And then he is like found at the dock. So it's kind of one of the things about water and like pools of water or ocean is that there is no differentiation between water and sky in Chinese mythology. It is the same thing because they reflected the sky in there. It's like an endless sky. And so the fact that she found him at the dock and he was buried and he had fallen, all of those things together say that he has descended fast from the sky.
Yeah, exactly. So he is, to go back to when it's a Star Lover, we say they're a fallen star. In this case, he's just like a fallen, like sky creature. So if you want to relate him to his falcon, which is a big thing, he's like basically like a fallen bird, effectively. And so that is what happens. And so I'm going to get ahead of myself if I'm not careful, because there's so much that happens just in that first
little bit. Yeah.
that first episode. But yeah, so we'll get into all of the details of Sky Lovers and how it shows up and where. But I think the things to look for throughout are going to be, again, all of those sky motifs like wind, etc. The bird, of course. But also another thing about Sky Lover stories is that because they are associated with Earth, it's always this balance, Earth and sky, right? And especially when you're talking about farming and, in this case, animal husbandry and everything else, what is happening in the sky is very important to what's happening on Earth and our ability to have like sustenance and everything else. And so that's why they're tied so closely together, is it's necessary for survival. And that's why you have her, who is this Earth creature, going, I can support you. I can take care of you. I can feed you because that is what she, as a creature of the earth, does.
Mm-hmm.
And, and meanwhile, he can rise, he can lift up, he can fly. So it's all really important the way that they have these different kind of characterizations based on these symbols. And so the other thing that you're going to see a lot is that the earth character does a lot of digging because the idea is they have to dig for their livelihood, but also it tends to be when you dig enough, you sort of create a path to the other world. So one of the ways that they reach the sky is that they dig. So what's really interesting to me is the way that she finds him covered in snow. Snow is from the sky. She digs into it. So it's like digging through the sky, basically, and uncovers him and is able to then take him home. So there's a lot of very cool things mythically going on.
In that, yeah.
Love it.
I also love that, like, instantly there's a tie between hair throughout like the whole thing. So like her hairpin falls into his hand and he has it. The ribbons that she carries in her hair are constantly being exchanged between the two of them. And it's to say like they are automatically tied between because of this event that has happened. They are now like in union. I also think that there's usually something wrong with the sky, right? Like that's pretty common in the versions that we have seen play out in modern media. There's something wrong with the kingdom of the sky. Either like people are doing bad things, people are corrupt, or just using their power in ways that shouldn't be used. And that is the truth, that there is a shadow over both of them, and they were connected from an earlier time that they both were unaware of.
And that's really cool too, because you get that pretty quickly that the Wei and Li clans are in this constant feud and they're both corrupt and so it's that feuding that causes him to fall. And of course, later we discover that the reason she's, kind of in this far off town is because her father was banished there for the same reasons, the same people. And so, so it's this idea that all is not well in the sky, and in some cases that means the imperial court, right? And so that's why, not to jump too far ahead, obviously, but like toward the end, they become the rulers of the sky because they manage the court at that point. So yes, it's all starting with something is amiss. In the imperial court in the sky, and so we fall to earth, and then we have to try to climb back up and to try to resolve that. And that brings us to another thing that you see a lot, which is climbing. A lot of climbing in this story. There are falls and climbs both. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Mountains, stairs, there's a lot of that going on. Yep, it's great stuff. So another thing I want to talk about is not talking about just sky lovers, but like all kind of mythic romances in general. There's a massive gender reversal in this story. Enchanted husband and wife motifs are swapped. He is the enchanted wife and she is the enchanted husband. We already talked about how she has supernatural strength, right? And he has supernatural beauty. So we see that already. But also, like swan maidens, she captures him repeatedly. Every time she carries him home somewhere, it's like that's a capture motif.
Yeah. And she clothes him in her clothes.
Exactly.
And, ties his hair with her hair ribbon and all of that. Yeah.
Even the bandages technically count. I mean, so constantly she's dressing him in her clothes. She's like, got again the hair tie, the bandages, blah, 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 blah. Like it's so that's very much, you put him in your clothes, now you own him, he's yours.
and he seems fine with that.
He seems fine with. Oh yeah, that's another thing I wanted to mention. By the way, I love that this is the story of a man who found his true calling as a wife guy, and I love that.
Yeah.
It's like so great. But yeah, so then what typically happens in these stories is that when you capture your celestial lover, then they agree to marry you and they keep house for you. And that's what happens. He agrees to marry her and he keeps house for her. That's literally what he does. He helps her out with the family
she kills
business.
The pigs and she goes off to work, and occasionally he helps her, but like he helps her with his beauty, which is so like,
yes, it's
like,
so great.
But he takes care of Ning and he takes care of her like adopted parents. And,
exactly.
Like, solves problems without her really even noticing and just helps out. Like,
he's like, oh, it's okay, hon. I'll write out, what you need to memorize for court. Okay. And then do you want me to come with you? No, thanks. Okay. It's just great. It's so great. It's just like really funny. So that's what typically happens and so for a time, the enchanted lover is living at home and they're a family. And then eventually they flee back to their world. Again, this is usually an enchanted bride that will reclaim something of theirs and then flee back to the other world. And so he does. He eventually he leaves and he goes back to the sky world. He retakes his role as the Marquis.
When he enters as the Marquis with his like cool feathers
God.
and
the feathers!
People compare it to this time that he was actually as part of a fashion show and did a catwalk, and he literally on the horse is doing a catwalk.
It's so I heard it was his idea too. And someone said that like the feathers on the costume were his idea.
It's
he was like,
so
you need
good.
This big ass feather. I love it.
Like it's great.
And I have to say,
the feathers again, the sky.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But also just to be totally shallow here, like he is outrageously beautiful. That is a very good looking man. Like it is ridiculous. But anyway,
they do something to make him. Because I've seen him in other roles. Like like the earliest we saw him in was Fairy and Devil.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
He's the secondary character. Like
he's Chong Hong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought so. I was like, man, he looks familiar. That's why.
But they do something. Like his different. Wig is really good too. Like they've definitely glammed him up to like.
Yeah, his hair is very pretty.
Yeah.
It's great. They're doing a good job. Also, I saw somebody comment, like, there's a whole line item in the budget just for a little fan that blows his bangs around all the time.
I mean, and like that's also part of the femme gaze of this story is they've absolutely made him like this prize to be won. Mm-hmm. But
totally,
it's sort of so interesting how they've done this.
You never get that, yeah.
Yeah. And when he leaves, he does the taboo, but she does too. So her taboo is that she says that they're divorced.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That is the taboo for him. And he tries to kiss her and make it better. Right. Like he's a dumbass.
Yeah. Yep.
His big thing is like, if we kiss, it'll be better.
Yeah. Well, I like that she calls him out on that later.
Not everything can be fixed with kisses.
She's like, you keep trying to kiss me, and he's like, okay, I'll make you a deal. If you don't punch me, I won't try to kiss you. I love that scene. It's just like he's like, cool, keep your fist down, and I won't kiss you. Okay, like it's hilarious.
Yes,
yeah, it's great. So it's all really fun. And then I think the last thing I'll mention where we talk about kind of the role reversal here is that he is Sleeping Beauty for a solid chunk of this.
Yeah,
like most of it, and it's like, and even her kind of one moment of Sleeping Beauty that she has, which is like briefly after they separate and the town is attacked, and then she like escapes.
Oh, and she's saved by him.
Yeah, and then he saves her, but she never wakes.
Yeah,
while she's with him, she doesn't even realize that he saved her.
She thinks it's an old woman that saves her.
Right,
old blind woman.
So that's interesting to me because that is like, it's not as Sleeping Beauty, but for him, every time he's there, it's very Sleeping Beauty, and it's constant. And she even like drugs him at one point. Mm-hmm. And that makes him Sleeping Beauty again. It's pretty constant, really. Like, so it really cracks me up. It's that. So I think all of this to say that, like, it's obviously very femme gaze, very much it's about powerful women and so on and so forth. But I also just really liked seeing a man in the role of like the damsel, the maiden. Yeah, that worked. Yeah. That worked for me. I was into it. So.
And he certainly wasn't like uncapable.
No.
But he was like, no, I'm going to let my wife kill you all. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no. And he was there. And every time that he did save her when they were in the town, it was unknowing. Like she didn't know he was.
She had no idea it happened.
It was undercover. Like he didn't want to reveal his powers, basically.
Yeah, he would just like toss something and like nobody would see him do
like,
it.
Flick rocks or he
like
did the mask thing at one point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do want to talk about Skeleton Woman because this is
Mhm.
also a role reversal.
Yep, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
again, we talk about Skeleton Woman in association with Crash Landing on You. So it's not surprising
Yeah.
that there is this continuous motif. So Skeleton Woman is also called The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. And we have a lonely figure in this story. Although she has adopted parents who are her next door neighbors who are taking care of her and her sister, and she has her sister, she is incredibly lonely because of her role within the society has her ostracized. And her job is to go out, get the meat, do the job.
So it's like a hunter, even though it's livestock, it's still similar role.
Yes. And this is an indigenous story primarily from North America, but it appears other places because it is most associated with the fact that there is a spiritually dead person who has been killed by something spiritually, who is revived and loved by a person who is lonely. And so she is the hunter in this, and she becomes entangled with the skeleton. And thus brings the skeleton back home through no fault of her own, but she feels like she has to because it is entangled with her, and stays in the hut with the skeleton, sleeps next to the skeleton, warms the skeleton by the fire,
which is critical.
Him, feeds the skeleton. In this, the skeleton woman is Zhang, and cries for the skeleton woman. And that feeds the skeleton, and the skeleton starts to have life back into them. And then the skeleton will take the heart out and bang on the heart to produce a song that revives the skin on her and creates love in the hunter. And the hunter is no longer lonely. And then they are together.
And they typically consummate like after the full rebirth is complete. So it's
exactly.
So it's like very obviously.
And so in this, like, she has taken him home. The entangling is the hair tie that exchanges between the two of them. She feeds him. He gives her kindness and gives her creativity and art and joy and things like that, the things that produce that warmth in her heart and care. And they together become this duo that is more complete than they were apart. And he, through this like nurturing and care that she gives him, heals and becomes a whole person again. He even says it textually later on, like, I never lived my life until I was in your town.
Well, and he says it when he's sort of speaking to his mother's tablet, and he's like basically introducing her. This is my wife and everything. It's great because he says the same thing. He's like, I was dead, and then she found me, and I learned what it was to live. And it was just like, so good. Loved it. So lots of skeleton woman for sure. Do we want to talk about all the pig butcher stuff? Because I think it's all really important.
Yes, absolutely.
So as we said, we have some reversal of enchanted spouses here. He is the sort of sky maiden, let's say, is his role, and she's got a bestial form, and that is her pig butcher form. The fact that she is a hunter, that sort of casts her in the role of predator, and also just the fact that she's associated with pigs, and everyone kind of thinks of like this is dirty work and it's not respected, and people think it's kind of gross and everything, and so because of that, this is her bestial form. She is sort of like this beastly character, and she's okay with that. She's 100% comfortable with it. Like she doesn't like being ostracized, but otherwise she's like, no, what I do is good and valuable, and I'm proud of it. And I think that's really cool. But what's really interesting here is there's so many references that to me feel like Asian Cinderellas that I've read. So she has this line where she says, be a good pig in this life, be a good person in the next life, right before she kills the pig. And the first time we see her do it at the very beginning of the show, she's killing the pig right at the time that we later learn that's when he's sort of symbolically dying. He's falling off
Is
of
that the start of the show? She says that?
Yeah, yeah. She
Oh.
says it a couple times, but it's
Yeah.
especially at the start of the show.
And then it's
And
repeated later on.
well, it's
Like
repeated when she
yeah.
discovers him. She discovers him and thinks she's dead, so then she says it again because it's like what she says when, a creature is dying. So she says, be a good pig in this life, be a good person in the next life. So he's basically going through his death state at that point in time. Then she discovers him, repeats it. He hears her repeat it. And then later you see him remembering it because he's like,
says
oh,
it.
that sounds familiar. Where have I heard that before?
Yeah.
He realizes that she said that. And so what this means is that he's being cast in the role of the pig here, like the sacrificial pig, basically. And be a good person in the next life. His next life is when he is reborn as her husband. That's his next life. And so he's going to be a new, different, good person now. So it's really fascinating the way this rebirth motif is right there at the beginning. But the reason I tie this back to Asian Cinderella tales is because she immediately thinks that he was sent by her mother. Like she's like, yeah, my mother, mother must have sent me to you. And part of the reason she brings him home is because she feels like it's what her mother wants her to do. And what I find fascinating about this is that there are a lot of tales in which there is a person who owns livestock. Usually it's a cow, but it can be several different animals. I have not read a version where it's a pig, but theoretically it could be. But there will be someone who, usually it's a maiden, it can be a young man as well, but usually they lose their mother. And then afterwards they care for this livestock. And it becomes kind of like a spiritual version of their mother, their lost mother. And eventually, sometimes the cow or the creature, speaks to them. Sometimes it doesn't speak to them, and it's just a normal cow that they associate with their mother. But eventually, what happens is the livestock it dies or it's killed. Whatever happens, either because they needed to eat or someone cruel came along and forced them to kill the cow or whatever. Something like that happened, and they always bury the bones somewhere special, either at the edge of a body of water or under a special tree or something like that. And then they go repeatedly and they kneel with the bones, they speak to the bones, and eventually the bones offer them a boon of some kind, either advice or a gift or just some other help. So they get magical help from the bones. So what I find fascinating is this idea that she is convinced that her mother sent her to him. And this is kind of what starts her whole journey, is that like be a good pig in this life, be a good person in the next life. So we have her mother just died. She's killing this pig. He's going through a sacrificial death. And then she finds him. He starts his new life. And she's convinced he was sent by the spirit of her mother. So that's why it feels like those tales to me. And I just thought it was such a cool thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really neat.
I really love that so much. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just really something. And it just added so much depth in such a short amount of time. And then it was really neat toward the end then to see that paralleled in the way that he associates her with his mother, and the way that then his mother even literally shows up in like a dream to bless their union eventually.
Yeah. And
she's like,
he takes over the role of all of the things her mother used to do, the handwriting and like the care of the house,
exactly,
and like all of those things. That's really cool.
It is cool. It's and again, that goes back to the whole like the gender reversal thing that I've never seen. It's like, yeah, your husband is sort of spiritually in place of your mother. Like that's not something you would expect to see, but it works really well.
it works really well. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
We do have that she is a hidden goddess because she has fallen from the celestial realm originally, but is hidden because of this sort of stain on her.
Right.
And only through her own journey? Do we peel back the layers of the complexity of her actual like truth of who she is? They're revealed over time. And we see hidden goddess in a lot of C-dramas because it is highly associated with the heroine's journey. In when you strip away the things that you think you are, you become what you truly are, which has been the goddess this whole time. And that she was always this heir to this very famous commander general who was her father.
Yep.
She was always this person, and she has inherited everything that he wanted for her. His strength, his cunning, his care, you know? It's also neat to me to see that he wanted a daughter.
Yes.
I think that was really cute.
Yeah, he was very determined to have girls, and I thought that was cute. Like, he was just like a very committed girl dad.
Yeah, and she's gonna be great, like at everything. Like, no doubt,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so, like, because this is also a heroine's journey, it becomes a little complicated because there are different motifs that say different things at different times that overlap each other, but it all works together. I'm so happy. I did find an interesting parallel to the Water Margin, which is one of the 4 great texts of the Ming Dynasty, where it's all about the stars of destiny, the heroes that are like all kind of lower class people, like bandits and things like that, that save the kingdom. And Sung or Nung, I'm probably butchering that, but she is the son of a pig butcher or the daughter of a pig butcher who ends up, her dad teaches her his profession and also martial arts. And she's supposed to be this as strong as 10 men. And her dad finds a person buried in the snow on the pass and brings him home. And when her dad dies, they get married and open an inn together and sell food. But it is like in a Sweeney Todd kind of way. It is food made of people they don't like. They end up playing an important role with this saving of the kingdom and become the heroes themselves and end up dying.
Yeah.
And doing things like that. But I found that so fascinating. There is a story that is like so, that matches this, like the first half of the story so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are so many parallels. Like, for example, the Grand Princess and the Headmaster.
Yeah.
That is a parallel to a very famous Chinese kind of Romeo and Juliet type tale where a woman disguises herself as a man to go study at like this academy and falls in love with one of the scholars. And it's a tragic ending. You know, they eventually end up dying together. But that's a whole thing. And so I thought that was so interesting the way that their story started there and has a much happier ending.
Yeah, I love them too. They were great.
I love them. They were cute. They were super fun. So I really liked that. There's Mulan elements and, you know, which is why it's really funny because Ming Na Wen apparently has been super into this show. She posted about how like she's been up till 3 watching it like every night.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, Mulan approved. All right. Like super great. So it's just, you know, there's a lot of that going. So, you know, it is its own story, but it's cool that there's parallels to so many other things.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it really fun.
It's cool that you can kind of see like even sort of in a way homage. Like it's almost like a fix-it fic of the Water Margin and of these like very secondary characters in the Water Margin. It's, you know, like it's almost a fix-it fix of the Romeo and Juliet type one as well, which is, I love that. And that makes me want to read the web novel.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. And it's like, and that's such a fun idea. Is I like the idea of starting with like, okay, here's what happens to these characters in this story. I don't like that. Let's see if we can give them a happier ending.
Yeah, or like a cooler, more
or
epic
an
story.
interesting, yeah, or like let's just, to your point, let's stretch out their story. What happens if you take this short folk tale and make it into this, like, much longer tale? Like what does that do? And
exactly.
It's really cool. So I just really, really loved it. There were so many interesting things going on, and it just very satisfying overall to dig into all this.
I did want to talk about as well, before we get into kind of, I think, our favorite parts of the drama, because I do want to talk about that a little bit, like what really drew us into this. Chen Yu's life archetypes are so clearly defined in this. Very. And I think that it's so awesome because you can point to it. So life archetypes they're talked about by a bunch of authors, but we really love K.M. Whalen's interpretation and sort of taking all of the different sources that we also read in together. And she talks about them as 3 phases of life. So early phase, first phase, second phase, and third. And within the first phase, there is maiden and hero. Within the second phase, there's queen and king. And within the third phase, there's crone and mage. We don't get past king in this, but we can see,
not for the mains. For the mains.
Yeah, we just see this like progression with Chen. So Chen Yu, she's very much in this maiden phase because she's very much held by the memory of her parents in the start of the story, as well as her obligations to the people around her and the society's assumptions about her being a pig butcher. And we have a key thing that happens to all maidens, or most maidens. She is being hunted by a predator. There is people that are coming after her to try and kill her. And she's in this phase pretty much until she decides to leave the town that she's from. That is primarily like caused by Ning's capture and her leaving. But she is very much held by the societal expectations that she should stay. She can't leave. She must be in this particular role. But as soon as she leaves, she instantly becomes a folk hero.
Yes.
Right? So she's literally a folk hero. So we know she has entered into this hero phase. She's known by what she wears. She's known by what she does. People talk about her. People dress like her. She becomes this like epic like person out there in the world. I loved that montage so much.
Good. And I love the way that like
all the women
all the women are like, well, and they start carrying butcher knives with them because it's like, oh, you don't want to run into Beauty Butcher, she'll get you.
Yeah,
it's like so great. I love it. It's so good. Yeah.
And then, we advance even further where she starts to care for her community. And this is when she comes across the boys from the town, right? And protects them and like kind of pulls them together. She starts to get into this path of like, I'm trying to find my husband. I'm trying to find my younger sister. Like it's all about her trying to get to this phase of queen where she can actually have a family and be together with them. So she's trying to find her husband and her younger sister.
And I want to bring everyone home to the town.
I want to bring everybody home safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like her hero phase is all about that, because we know that the hero is trying to find family, is trying to find love, is trying to find home and protect home too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And then she takes on being a queen when she's actually able to be reunited with all of them. And the general dies.
Right. Yes. Because that's what that does is it creates like a power vacuum. So it's like, oh no, is that when she becomes a king? Or am I getting confused? No,
she doesn't. I don't think she becomes a king until she actually becomes the ruler of the.
Right. So that's toward the end. But it's especially because that's the whole point, is that the king dying creates a power vacuum. So she becomes queen when the general dies and she gets because of her actions in battle, protecting everyone, she gets promoted to this commander role. And so at that point, she's a queen. She gets like paraded through the
She's the
city
flower general.
as the flower general and everything. By the way, I have to just say, like the two of them getting their own processions in their full military regalia. Oh, their combined slay is too much. I can't take
know.
it.
And then like they both watch each other.
Yes. It's so great. Oh my God, I love them.
And he,
so, yes.
like he throws the ribbon.
No, she throws the ribbon.
Oh, she throws the ribbon.
He catches it.
He catches the ribbon,
But like it's the wind connection and I love it. I'm obsessed. You want to talk about favorite parts? I love that scene.
But
so good.
Her role as a general is all about protecting. It's not about attacking and it's about like, I'm going to just solve the small problems. She's never like in this like king role until it's thrust upon her at the end where she becomes part of the like sort of triumvirate around the emperor.
Yeah, because in order to protect Bao, it becomes Changyu, Zheng, and then Bao's mother, and they all work together to like, rule in his stead until he comes of age. Yeah. And so at that point she's a king.
Yeah. Because she's in charge of the land and protecting everybody. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just really cool to see a progression like that so solidly on display in a drama.
Also, it just hit me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Sorry. I'm just like freaking out a little bit. This is really cool. Changyu is earth. Zheng is air.
Yeah.
Or sky. And I just realized Yuchen is water.
Ah, yeah. Because she's saves him from the water
and then herself is in the water.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. That's cool. Sorry. That's neat. I just caught on. So that's cool. Yeah.
What? Cool.
It's so neat. I just love it. It's really, there's a lot of really nifty symbolism going on. So yeah, so I love the archetypes and getting to see them go through it. It's less distinctive, I think, for some of the other characters. Like it's still there, but it's not as clear as it is for Changyu.
Yeah, like Zhang is a lover for a good chunk of time. He's even like, I would say, a damsel.
Yes,
for a bunch of it. But he does become a queen, especially when he becomes super obsessed with protecting her and building a home and like doing all of those things. And eventually he becomes a king when he finally decides to confront everything and solve the problems. But there was some criticism I read somewhere that like, he's one of the main leads. Like, why are we like not focused on him? And I'm like, yeah, but he's the typical female character.
Yeah. Like that's his role. I loved him as he was.
He's the prize to be won, guys.
He is. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
He's the trophy husband.
Isn't he so pretty?
He's so pretty.
And also like he wants to be the trophy husband. He does. Funny.
He absolutely. I love the way that he's like, I'm her husband. Yes, I'm her husband. I'm her husband.
Yeah.
Super amazing. I just love it. Oh, and okay, sorry not to jump ahead, but like one of my favorite things is the way that like his two generals that like follow him everywhere. I love the way that the minute they find out that she even exists, they're calling her the Marchioness. And I think that's amazing. Like that just right out of the gate, they're like, yes, the wife of the Marquis, the Marchioness.
Yes. Yes.
Like,
and he's like,
so great.
Okay.
It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super fun.
No, we could just so I wanted this part to be just us fangirling about the things that we really freaking loved.
So many things to fangirl about.
The deleted scenes associated with them having
what?
Like so much sex. But I mean we know it happened, right? So that is like a big like alchemical union moment. Anytime that they've been kissing, there's big advancements in their characters. The kiss against the paper wall with the deleted scenes that there's people on the inside.
Yes,
so funny.
that wasn't even deleted. That was actually
Or just
scenes
like,
after the credits
scenes.
scenes. It was post-credit scenes. Yeah. That was, which was so fun.
funny.
And they're all like watching from the inside, like, oh, interesting. Like,
what is going on?
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was great.
There was this like meme that was like, they both have their divorce papers in hand, but don't ignore that. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. What divorce?
That's not a real thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just obsessed with when the eunuch comes to be like, you're going to marry the grand princess. He's like, I need you to walk away from this right now and pretend this never happened. And then he cuts off his ear and describes it as a pig's ear.
Yes.
So good.
It's
when the guy comes after her and he like stabs him. Oh, so good.
Yes.
Anytime there's like that sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, it's just what's really okay. So this is just like I don't know. This is a thing. But
now we've reduced into incoherence as we fangirl over the things that we love. We were smart for the first chunk. Don't worry.
No, but you have to understand. But this is it, right? Okay, so you want to talk about like what draws people in? Like, yes, obviously, you know, there is something deeper resonating, but there's also just all the surface level stuff that is really, really fun. And like, I'm really into like very sweet, gentle husband who has this deep well of violence inside of him if you threaten his wife. Like, it's so great.
And like, like he's secretly out there like glaring from the top window, being like, I'm gonna kill Yan. Who was this guy that you were engaged to, and how can I kill him?
No, but the best thing about that is the way that like he becomes so aware of how she hates him, and she also is so capable to take care of herself that he's more like, no, it's cool. She's got it. I'm not like, so like, yes, he hates Songyan, but at the same time, he's just like, oh no, shit, I'm just going to let her, which is amazing.
Do you love the comeuppance scene? That it was so satisfying.
Oh yeah, toward the end.
She's the flower general and has to have like elocution lessons or something like a manners lessons.
Yeah,
and
basically.
He's like, I'm here to help you and it's an honor. And she's like, excuse me, you? And then he's like has to leave in shame, and
but then he runs into Zheng on the way out the door.
Yeah, and it becomes so much worse.
It's so great
because he's so like, great. Oh, see, like she kept you with her because she's so amazing, and his like minister guy is just like, please let me die.
Talking.
Please stop talking.
Please stop talking. I know. It's so great. I love that. Also, since we haven't talked about it that much yet, I'm obsessed with the hometown boys that become her own
the
like
Pig Butcher
squad.
Mob. Yeah.
I love them so much because you know, when it starts off, they are these thugs, and you don't actually know immediately that they're going to end up becoming close, right? You know, you just think, oh, these are just some thugs or whatever. And so the fact that, like, she beats them up twice and then gives them jobs.
Yep.
Because they're scared of her.
Jobs,
because they're scared of her. And then they, like I said, she becomes like a mob boss, and they end up like following her everywhere as she goes around like punishing people who have wronged her. And it's so good.
And then they become respectable to their families, and they're like, what?
I know.
Who knew?
But then when she finds them again.
Oh yeah, that was so good. I love the way that
like those people are there bullying her, and they walk up and the guy mouths off to him, and he's like, no, dude, I'm not here to save her. I'm here to save you from her. Like,
she's gonna kill you, dude.
Yeah, it's so great.
I love the main guy because so when she becomes the flower general, he wears flowers on his hat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of indications that he's in love with her, but he respects the fact that like she's in love with her husband, and he's like always very supportive.
Well, and he's like, I'm there if he's gone. Like you know,
exactly.
and right, but he's always going to be there, and she's always going to be protected. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. Mm-hmm. It's fine.
But I also really love him like. When they're finally gonna do the deed, when they're finally gonna consummate, and he's getting the other general, he's like, no, you need to let them do this. Please leave them. No, we're going to go this way. All right, leave them alone.
This is like long past due.
Yeah.
He's come on.
Please let them do this.
How long have they been married and they haven't?
Right?
Like,
I know. It's so great.
I really love her little sister, and I love
Yes.
the aunt and uncle parents, adopted
They're
parents.
the best. Yeah, the neighbors.
And it's really cool to see those two actors. So the auntie is from Minglan. She's the main main mother in Minglan, and it was just really cool to see her in a role that was so sweet and motherly, you know. And then the dad is the uncle from Guardians of Daefeng. And I love that drama so much. I'm so happy it's getting a second season, who has the actress who plays Chen Yu in it. So
oh, okay.
Yeah, so and it's with Dylan Wong. So
what?
Yeah.
Oh
so God. I highly recommend that drama as well.
Okay. All right.
It's got like it is joyful. Like so much joy. Awesome. A great drama if you're like looking for like similar things. Her character is very different. She plays a princess in it, and she's not incredibly smart.
That's funny. Oh, which, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that, because that actually reminded me. So one of the things I really loved about this drama is, again, all of the characters who could have been one-dimensional, but they always gave them more depth. So specifically, I want to focus on the magistrate's daughter. And also on Kang, who was like, you know, the gossipy, the mean lady, gossipy busybody or whatever. And so both of them are like kind of awful to Changyu for a while. But then you get to see a little more depth. So with Kang, the first time you get to see it is when Zhang is doing all of the New Year's couplets, and all the neighbors come and get some. And as everyone's leaving, she sort of like sheepishly is like hanging out in the doorway, and she's like, can you actually write mine too? Because I don't have any family at home and there's no one to do it for me. And they sort of take pity on her and decide to, you know, do this for her. And then later you see when when the conscription is happening and she's just terrified of her grandson being taken away or whatever. And she's begging Madame Song for help. And Madame Song is like, just blowing her off completely. And you just see this utter devastation because she's lost everyone in her life, and now she's afraid she's going to lose her grandchildren as well. And so when you see all of this, and then she has this moment of she rescues Ning, and then, you know, specifically hides the children and distracts the bandits, you know, and loses her own life in the process. Like, it's so tragic and beautiful because she was not a good person, but she also was when it mattered. And so that was just that was really well done. And then the magistrate's daughter, same thing. She's just like this snobby pain in the butt all the time. But then firstly, her father is imprisoned and she's scared and everything, but she's being very brave about it. And so she works together with Changyu to free him and everything. And then when the city is attacked and she's one of the people dragged out there because she knows Changyu and they want to know where she is. And she refuses to say, you know, even watching several people die right in front of her, she is, you know, just looks this guy right in the eye and will not tell him. And even like taunts him. She even says, like in the subtitles, she refers to herself as Granny, and she's like, your granny doesn't know. Like, she's like, F off, dude. Like, it's great. And then it's so sad because, again, she's murdered right there, and it's awful, but it's like, again, you're just so proud of her. You're so proud of that character for being like so brave when it mattered. And so I thought that was just a really amazing thing that they did in the show, was to give these characters depth. And it made the impact of what happened to the town so much more powerful, because it wasn't just the, you know, quote unquote good characters. It was like everyone that suffered because of this.
No, and I thought that was like, it was really hard. Like, you were like, oh, I need some change soon. I'm like, careful what you wish for.
I know. Well, because up to that point, everything had been so like kind of sweet, and I was
Yeah.
loving it. And at the same time, I was like, listen, I know that these shows bring the pain, so I'm ready for it. Let's go. And then it was like, oh, everyone is dead in a horrible way. I was like, oh my gosh. I did not expect that.
Really hard. Yeah.
It's a tough episode.
I want to point out the orange peel candy
Oh,
as
yeah.
one of the foods that she feeds him to to revive him in that skeleton woman motif, because like she sends it to him through the uncle,
Yes,
and then he guards it like, grr, this is my candy.
And every time someone makes fun of him for it, he's like, what's your problem? Leave me alone.
My wife sent me these.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and he like literally has no problem with saying that, which is so cool. And then there's a really great denial of the call, like come over moment with you in Chengyu, who when she's like, hey, you have to become this like general commander person. She's like, that's not me. I want to just like live my life. And Tao says to her, when the nest is overturned, how many eggs can remain unbroken? Like the idea, like to protect your home, to protect those you care about, you have to make sure that stuff isn't just tipping over nests all over the place. Yeah. And chaos does not create a place that people can be safe. And I really love that moment because like her denying the call or denying this like next phase of her life where she has to step up and become a leader and step in. Typically the queen becomes a king when the throne is empty.
Yeah.
Right? So, or the king is a sick king or a child king. Right. Sometimes those things happen too. And it just was really good to see her be hesitant, be like, I don't want to do that. Sometimes we don't see that in media any longer.
Right. Well, even when they say he's going to Lucheng, are you going with him? And she's like, no, I'm not. But then, of course, she ends up there anyway because it's where she needs to be. But that's the whole point, is that she does have moments of like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm determined. I'm going to go, find my sister, find my husband, whatever. Yes, that's all in there. But then, there are a number of times where she sort of denies it. And then arguably again, when she starts to discover the truth about her father and she gets worried about what that will do to Shang's reputation. And so then she's sort of pulling away from him at the same time because she's just like, ooh, no, I'm tainted.
And she goes into these negative archetypes where she just tries to protect him instead of herself and like be honest. And that's what sort of triggers this like lack of communication between the two of them. I just really loved this drama.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. And they were just like, and there's also, I thought the humor was really wonderful. There's so many funny moments. I actually really, really loved when she shows up at the camp and they discover each other again, and it's so sweet. And then the princess is called in as the imperial physician to like check on him. And her whole like, what? This is your husband?
This is what's going on?
Like, and her face and the way that he is just like mortified for her to see him like this. Like, that was so funny. I was
and the lies, the web of lies.
Oh, and he keeps getting in deeper, and everyone around him is like, "Dude, you really need to tell her the truth." And he's like,
"Tell her."
He's like, I will, I swear." And then he just like doesn't, and then he's like surprised when she's pissed because it's like, dude, what? Like.
She's like, but she won't love me if I am a sky god.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly
so
what it was.
Funny.
So funny. And I love the way that, like, at one point he asked her, well, if I ever did, like, hypothetically become a marquis, I mean, how would you feel about that? And she's like, I mean, that would be cool. And he's like, nice.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So funny.
Like fist, like pump, like success kid, like fine, okay, cool, God, okay. Why didn't you just tell her? Like,
he did not tell her, and then it's just like so funny. And I'm sorry, it just kills me. I also love that he totally didn't see it coming that she was gonna drug him. Like, that part just gets me. The way that she's like, by the way, which battalion are you in again? And he's like, and he just like makes something up. And then she's like, okay, so if anything happens, take care of Ning for me. And he goes, what? And then he like realizes it's like, oh no.
Yeah, and she drugs him. Yeah.
And in the previous scene, she was like sitting there right in front of him, altering his armor so that it would fit her. And he didn't even notice her doing it right in front of his face. Like, it's so great.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
There's like a subtle parallel between the two of them. So she's a pig butcher, but he was also known as like the bloody Marquis.
Yeah,
right. So they were both like associated with the fact that ghosts wouldn't bug them because so
they
much
killed so
death
much. Yeah.
was surrounding them. That was really cool. So they were the same, even though they were equals, even though they were so different.
Yeah.
There was some really cool stuff like that. And yeah, the humor, like the joy when they were back together, how much of a wife guy he becomes, like,
oh my gosh.
Like he was like, yes, I found my purpose in life. It's to be the best wife guy possible.
Exactly.
Like he doesn't even want to stay at his own house. He goes and stays at her mansion. Like,
it's exactly. He's just
so
like, no,
funny.
It's cool. I'm gonna get a post up in the Northwest so that I can be there with you, and we're gonna rebuild, and we're gonna be at home, and it's gonna be great. And it's like,
yeah,
it's just like, it's super fun. Okay, so the other thing I want to mention is I have seen some people complaining about the fact that ultimately their like first time was because he was on an aphrodisiac. So I want to be real here. I don't have a problem with that. First of all, big fan of sex pollen and fix, so no problems here. But secondly, again, this man at this point like was so uptight.
Yeah.
Like it was never gonna happen without a little push. So it's like,
yeah,
he just like, yeah. And I don't know, it didn't bother me one bit. It was funny. I really like the general idea of like, she just needs to make sure he knows who she is. She's like, who am I? And he goes, Fan Chung Yu. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they do their thing. And then we have the deleted scene, which was amazing.
It didn't bother me. I honestly thought they should have done it way earlier.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did love the one moment, like, where she's like like, it's like time has passed. They're in charge of things. She's visiting the encampment, and they're like, he's like, I gotta go. And she's like, okay, fine. And she's like, get me my armor. And and he's like, you are the daughter, or like, you have 2 children. Like, you have to be more responsible than
yeah.
So
it's
good.
So great. I also heard that the actor who plays, his main general that's always kind of following him around, like, he basically wrote his own fanfic for what happens to them afterward. He's like, so they had the 2 kids. It was a twins, boy and a girl, and da 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 da. And my character was always there taking care of the family and everything. It's just like very cute that he was like, this is what I think happened next. It was like really
I love them.
Oh, so great. But yeah, they're really wonderful characters, and I just really love that. And so I am perfectly content with the ending of the the 2 of them, and they live happily ever after, and they have babies, and that's all cool. I did not need the AU.
I didn't understand it. Maybe somebody can explain it to me.
Part of me thinks it just has a lot to do with like, these shows tend to talk a lot about fate. There's definitely a lot of stuff about fate in this show. But I don't know if it was necessary. It's just like, meh.
I mean, her dad taught him how to use his halberd.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that, right? Like that. Yep. But they wanted to say that it was even closer than that. Like they were always intended for each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that, again, what makes the story powerful is the fact that they suffer through a lot to like find each other, and the reason that they are drawn to one another is because of the difficult experiences they've had and everything. And so that's why now that I'm kind of watching.
And the respect that he has for her as like this person that has survived so much and yet is still loving and caring and cares for the community and everything like that, and teaches him how to live. And that's the skeleton woman stuff. Like that is why it's so satisfying. We ourselves want to see that we too, maybe we're spiritually dead, but through the nurturing and care of others around us, we can come back to life.
Absolutely. And even I think you see that a lot, especially in his relationship with her little sister, because not only does he rescue her, but then later he actually gives her one of the candies. He's like, oh, your sister sent me these, do you want one? It's just like so sweet. It's just adorable. And I love that.
And he becomes an uncle to her as well as Boer, like right away. Like as soon as Boer shows up, he's like, oh, and he gets down on his level and he's like, I'm going to protect. Like,
and he's hugging him. And I love that Boer's like, he actually calls him Uncle Sheng. And it's like so sweet. It's so cute. I love it. It's just, so it's really, I don't know. It like, again, this man, he was born to be a wife guy, born to be a family man who takes care of the babies. Like, this is who this man was born to be, and it's just incidental that he ended up having to join the military.
Born to be a wife guy, forced to be a general.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, and that is so fun to watch because it's just like, I don't know, it's a really fun dynamic. So loved it.
I do want to shout out, like, the action scenes were really entertaining.
So good. The choreography of the fight scenes was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was just so beautiful and purposeful in so many ways. I just like, guys, you could have the end with the rushing of the exposition.
Oh my gosh. Well, also just like, whose idea was it to have two different fires with two different like princess type characters around the same time? I was like, wait, which fire are we talking about? I'm so lost.
It was fires,
There's two fires.
And then we had the third fire because the grand princess gets stuck in the third
Right, because
fire.
then there's that fire. Right, so you have two historical fires and then one current day fire, and they all have a princess or consort in them somewhere, and it's very confusing. So every time someone says the fire, I'm like, you're gonna have to be a little more specific. Like, what are we talking about?
It all comes from like people being unsatisfied with like their lot in life, basically. And it's, I don't know, I get it, but like
it felt to me. So you know how like there's this whole subculture of YouTubers, breadtubers, whatever, who they love to just nitpick things to death and be like, this is a plot hole, that's a plot hole. But like, obviously I don't know for sure, but a lot of the heavy plot and exposition toward the end of the show felt like somebody who was terrified of someone pointing out plot holes. And I have to say, I do not care. I don't care about plot holes. If it is thematically and emotionally resonant, I will forgive everything. It does not matter to me.
I think if you actually cut out the end, like Xi Zhang had made peace with so much stuff. Like he fought his uncle fine. His uncle dies. Like, I don't actually think you needed to explain anything.
No, I think all the backstory that they gave with the uncle, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, they could have just been like, it was hard. The bad stuff had happened. We're not going to go into it. And I would have been satisfied.
Yeah, it was just a little too much because it meant that I was putting so much work into trying to follow what the heck they were trying to tell me that I was like, I'm lost. And even remember at one point, I think the Dowager Empress or whatever sits down to try to explain it, and I'm still confused by the time she's done. I'm like, I'm still lost. What are we? What happened? I'm so confused. There were also a number of people that were like deliberately dying to protect someone else, and that never quite made sense to me. It was always just like, well, I have to die to protect them. I'm like, but do you though? I'm confused. I'm like, there's a lot of that, and so
I just know what I can skip next time I watch it.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
It's all good,
it's
but
easy.
I still get all the good resonant mythological motifs and all the goodness of how beautiful our pretty princess was and our beautiful heroine.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's the main romance, the main story absolutely carries me through. And I will still recommend this show to anyone who will listen because it is just a pleasure to watch. It's really fun.
It really is. Well, that was us talking about Pursuit of Jade.
Or Chasing Jade, as I've seen it a few
Chasing
times.
Jade is the
Mm-hmm.
Chinese translation, but Pursuit
There
of
you go.
Jade on
Mm-hmm.
Netflix if you are an English speaker. You can, of course, watch it on Netflix. I think it might have been available on WeTV.
Yeah, I've seen it
It was
there.
WeTV was where it was also done. But yeah, Netflix was good. Missy, where can people find you if they're looking for more of your thoughts?
You can find me on Tumblr, where I am all girls are princesses, and where lately I have been basically just reposting tons and tons of Pursuit of Jade stuff. So
Gifs. Yeah, there's some good
lots of
giffers
gifts.
out there.
Yeah.
I am also on Tumblr at What the Force, which will occasionally talk about Star Wars as well and other things I'm interested in, like Bridgerton.
Mm-hmm.
We are also on Blue Sky at What the Fiction and or WT Fiction. I don't know. Look for both. And then I'm also Marisi Gould on Blue Sky. And it's been a pleasure to talk about this show. I'm so happy that we
This
got to.
this has been really fun. Hey, can we maybe share in the liner notes a link to our Crash Landing on You episodes for anyone who might be interested?
Yes, because they are so similar. And
So similar.
if you think about it, you're like, what? Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
because they have the same major motifs, which
Mhm.
is so cool to call out and be able to say.
It's really neat.
All right. Take care, everyone. Cheers.